Hi, third graders. I missed you very much. We're on chapter 45. We're almost there, almost there. Not much left here. We gotta find out. Let's see. I've talked with Logan, Anijah, and Quinn, and they felt like that Red was not going to get tracked down, but we may not have reached the climax yet. Maybe that's, just like in Stone Fox, the climax was the second to last page of the book, or chapter of the book, so it could happen. Chapter 45. Trees don't sleep, not like people do or animals, but we do rest. Unfortunately, that night rest eluded me, meaning like escaped him. He couldn't sleep. I was filled with questions about the coming day, of course, but most of all, I didn't want to miss a moment of what little life I had left. I wanted to drink in the stars. I wanted to feel the fuzzy wings of the owlets. I wanted to stretch my roots just a tiny bit further before the night was through. I wanted to indulge in some quiet contemplation about life and love and what it all meant. I wanted to philosophize. So he's really just wanting some time to just think of his life and all of the beautiful things around him. I've been thinking, I said to Bongo. There's no point in my worrying about tomorrow. It will come soon enough. Red, Bongo said. Too much, wise old tree? Bongo paused. She looked at me for a long time. Never, she said, never, ever too much, wise old tree. Bongo settled onto home plate. The world was quiet and calm. Want to hear a tree joke? I asked. Is it funny? Probably not, I admitted. Then probably no. What's a tree's least favorite month? What's a tree's least favorite month? I don't know. What month? September! I paused. Because, you see, Red, Bongo interrupted, as always, there's no need to explain. We didn't speak much after that. Turned out I didn't need to talk about life and love and what it all meant. It was enough to watch the sky freckled with stars, to smell the sweet, wet earth, to listen to the beating hearts of the little ones I could keep safe, at least for one more night. Check out this page. I like how it's in like the night time. It's the stars. Kind of makes you feel like you're right there with Red and Bongo. Chapter 46. Saturday morning dawned clean and cool. Even before the sun made itself known, the animals and owls departed the safety of my limbs. Each family had found a new home, all in nearby trees on the same block. The skunks were going to remain under the porch. It made me feel happy to know that everyone would be staying in the neighborhood. So remember, today is the wishing day, and that's when all the animals leave. So that means this afternoon, that's when Francesca's having the tree cutters come. One by one, they nuzzled me, whispering their goodbyes. The babies sniffled, especially Harold and Rose Petal and Flashlight. The parents tried to put on brave faces, but their trembling voices gave them away. It was awful, but I was glad to get it over with. I've always hated goodbyes. Bongo, for her part, instead insisted on staying with me to the bitter end. I knew better than to argue with her. By 6 in the morning, Stefan and Samar were sitting together on Samar's porch. By 7, Sandy and Max, those are the policemen and women, had arrived. They parked across the street and sat in their cruiser sipping coffee and eating donuts. By 8, 3 local reporters had arrived, armed with microphones and fancy equipment. They took video of the word leave. They talked about its meaning and how it had changed the feel of the neighborhood. They also talked about me, the doomed Wishtree. I didn't like the word doomed, but I had to admit it was accurate reporting. Francesca came at 8:30, carrying a cup of tea and dragging a small wooden ladder, the one she put out every year for the wishmakers. She went back home and promptly returned with Lewis and Clark on their kitty leashes. They were not cooperative. And when the wishes began, a toddler on her dad's shoulders, reaching high, an old woman aided by two young girls, neighbor after neighbor, many of whom I'd seen pass by over the years. Wish after wish after wish. Some on scraps of colorful fabric, many on paper tied with a ribbon or string, a few socks, 2 t-shirts, and 1 pair of underwear. At first, people came in small groups or one by one, but then something changed. The trickle of people became a deluge, meaning like a downpour. So like it like flooded the area. Many of them were kids from the elementary school, but there were parents and teachers too. 12 kids, 50, 100 and more. Every person seemed to be carrying an index card. Each card had a hole punched in it with a piece of string looped through the hole. Stefan high-fived many of them, hugged his principal, waved to his teacher. Samar just sat on the steps with her parents, a quizzical expression on her face. One by one, the children tied their wishes to me. The principal and the assistant principal and the janitor and teachers all helped. My limbs had never been more laden. My heart had never been more helpful. Because each child, as each neighbor, as each stranger placed the wish upon me, they looked at Samar and her parents and said the same thing. Stay. Ooh, that just gave me goosebumps, everyone. They want them to stay. They're letting them know that just because of that one voice, to not let that hurtful voice hurt them and listen to hundreds of people telling them to stay. That is extremely powerful right there. Chapter 47. Well, and I think that we can all think about that too. We always will get into fights and arguments and people will say hurtful things, but it's just one voice. You need to listen to yourself. You need to listen to all the other friends and teachers and parents that love you and care about you and listen to what they are saying, because they're the true voice and they are here for you and they want you to do your very best. So hearing all of those voices, that's extremely powerful right there. All right, chapter 47. Within an hour, I was covered with the word stay. Extra wishes lay on the ground beneath me, piled like blossoms. Wishes made their way onto the porches and railings and sidewalk. After 216 rings, I thought I'd seen it all. Turns out you're never too old to be surprised. Soon it became clear that the stay wishes had been Stefan's idea. With the help of his teacher, Stefan's whole class had secretly worked much of the previous school day making the index cards. Word spread quickly about the project. Before long, the whole school had joined in. So you remember how Samar kept saying to Stefan, I felt like people were whispering about me and looking at me and all of this? It's because he was planning this secret the whole time and no one told them. So this was your idea, Samar asked Stefan. I had a lot of help, he said. It's a miracle we kept it a secret from you. Samar looked over at her parents. I don't know if this will change anything, she said. Stefan looked over at his parents. Me neither. Thank you, though, Samar said, for trying. Stefan started to reply, but just then the timber Terminator truck pulled up. The end of my story was coming. Well, it had been a beautiful story. How lucky was I to have seen a day like today? But Stefan and Samar weren't giving up so easily. They ran straight to Francesca, who was busy untangling the kittens, wound around her right leg. Please, Samar begged, you can see how much people love this wish tree. Please don't cut it down. Child, Francesca said firmly, it's time. Stefan pulled something from his jacket pocket. It was a small leather-bound journal. So you found it, said Francesca. In the shed? Yep, said Stefan, handing the worn diary to her. It's a little damp, said Francesca. Samar pressed the key, its long ribbon dangling into Francesca's palm. You should read it. Maybe someday. How about now? Stefan urged. Francesca sighed. You children need a hobby, you know that? She put the key in the silver lock, and the journal clicked open. The pages were yellow, the ink faded. Let me guess, it's all about that the tree can talk. Actually, it's about this neighborhood, Stefan said. It's about us. Please, Samar said. Dear, I won't change anything, Francesca said. Please, Stefan said. Oh, fine, Francesca rolled her eyes. Gotta wait for the tree guys to finish getting set up. Sure, I'll glance it over. Maybe then you'll leave me in peace. Dragging Lewis and Clark behind her, Francesca went to Samar's porch and sat on the top step and began to read. I wonder what is so important in this diary.